Hey, it's Jordan. I am in Darlington, Pennsylvania, which is right over the border from East Palestine, Ohio. The whole area was chemically nuked intentionally and unnecessarily, as you know. Now 18 months ago, so a year and a half ago, and I believe it's accurate to say I'm sitting with victims. So Wayne, Lori, you've lived in Darlington, about 3.2 miles from ground zero of the derailment and detonation. So you were not part of the initial evacuation zone, but pretty quickly after they detonated all these chemicals, we still don't know what all they are. I'm talking to a toxicologist with 50 years of experience who says there might be as many as 120 cancerous chemicals that detonated. Promise you the EPA is not looking for most of them. But tell me about you, because in November, so before the derailment, November 2022, you got a clean chest scan, right?
I believe it was November.
Yes.
Yeah.
So you got a scan for your chest, it was clean.
I fell and I hurt myself and.
No, you had a cold in November.
Oh yeah, that's right. It was
They
a
were
cold.
checking for pneumonia.
Yeah, and it was clear. No lumps or anything like that.
And then we have the derailment and detonation in February. Then you go back for another scan soon after that?
April
April.
of that year. Mm-hmm. That's when he fell. And he thought he had broke a rib.
Yeah.
And
All people fall.
showed
You know?
nothing.
Showed nothing 2 months after the derailment detonation. And then you started feeling not so good?
I noticed a lump when I was taking a shower. The first time, it was on the right side. The first time I blew it off, I thought, yes. But my next shower, it got bigger fairly quickly. And I said, no, this is not right. So I went downstairs and told my wife, I said, would you take a look at this and tell me what you think? She said, yeah, I think you need to go to the doctor. And I did.
Yeah.
And I did. I went to our family doctor.
And this was in May of 2023?
The end of May.
End of May, yes.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So we're talking about 3 months after they exploded these chemicals?
18
18 weeks.
18 weeks after they unnecessarily blew them cars up.
Yeah.
We all know that now. We kind of knew it then,
Right.
but nobody would listen. But anyway, but yes,
End of May, and he diagnoses you with...
I was diagnosed with breast cancer the very next, no, at the end of May, I think. If I looked at my phone, I could tell you the exact date because I'll never forget it.
Right.
And of course, my reaction was, huh? Even the word cancer scared me to death.
Yeah, of course.
And me, I've been fairly healthy for 66 years now.
And it's also pretty unusual in men.
Yes, it's very rare in men. I looked up the statistics. I think the American Cancer Society had it at 1 out of 833 men.
Wow.
1. And I was one of them. Peter Criss, drummer of Kiss, was another one. Richard Roundtree, actor, Shaft. He was another one. He got it too.
And you started chemo aggressively?
No. Actually, I had to meet with my surgeon first.
Okay.
Because after they did the biopsy, my surgeon recommended a double mastectomy. Because she said, in 6 months, I'm going to go right back in and I'm going to have to take the other side out.
Wow.
I guarantee it. Well, this is her thing. This is what she does. So I had to have a double mastectomy. Then after that, I had to go see a cancer doctor who is absolutely wonderful. And she plotted a course, after blood testing and everything else, she plotted a course for me, and I had to take chemotherapy. I had to take 4 rounds. And my last one was on December 13th, my 66th birthday. last year,
And you all lived in Darlington for 20-something years?
25 years.
I've lived in Darlington longer than that.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
I've been in Darlington since I was 25.
But with,
So,
as a married couple,
25 years.
And tell me about after the derailment. Obviously, you saw the plume. Did you have immediate symptoms where you lived?
Well, we left.
Okay.
We got a couple phone calls from people that were concerned and told us we should leave our home, friends. And so we left our home, but we came back. Because according to them, it would be fine.
Right.
You know, the EPA and Norfolk Southern, it'll be fine in about 4 hours. Just let it burn off. So we came back and we smelled the chemicals as soon as we hit Darlington.
You could taste it. You could
Yeah,
taste it.
and got home, and it wasn't a couple days we started noticing like our daughter was getting sick. She was throwing up. First, of course, we thought it was maybe flu because it's February.
Yeah.
You know, I had a headache. I thought sinus infection, but then as time went on, you know, more and more things started to happen, and we were starting to put it together. We're like, this isn't normal. You know, so by the end of February, we knew we got a problem.
Yeah.
And called our family doctor, and he referred us to the clinic.
Norfolk Southern's
Yeah,
clinic thing?
yeah.
Yeah.
And would not see us for the derailment.
Really?
No,
No, our doctor wouldn't.
no. Told us that they were told to go to a clinic.
So let me get this straight. Your doctor said, I can't see you for derailment.
Yeah,
You have to go to the Norfolk Southern.
clinic.
Clinic.
The Department of Health clinic that they set up here next door.
Right.
At
Yes.
the fire hall.
Yes.
And there had been a webinar put out for all the doctors in the area that they were to refer people with symptoms of the train derailment to the health clinic. And we opted not to go to the health clinic because, you know, we live in a small town and people talk. And the problem is that they weren't doing anything for anybody. All they were doing was they were taking demographics. They were telling you that you had allergies. It's February. We have snow on the ground. What are we allergic to here? Mm-hmm. You know,
Your daughter's throwing up from allergies?
apparently, yeah. So we opted not to go to the health clinic, and I contacted another doctor that I see, and she did send me and told me, she said, you know, we're being told to refer you to the clinic, and she did order a heavy metal test for me, but that was it. We did subsequently were tested for vinyl chloride and benzene, which everyone in our household tested positive for. He was at almost triple the level. Our daughter was at 1.5 times the level, and I was lowest.
We have all that on paper.
Do you remember around when you tested for vinyl chloride?
I tested in March, the beginning of March, and when I got my test results back and they were positive, I called the doctor, our family doctor, and I said, okay, now, are you going to test my husband and my daughter? And he did in May,
So
and they were still positive.
your urine was triple the level, the acceptable level, which is nonsense anyway,
Yeah.
for vinyl chloride.
And benzene.
And benzene. And vinyl chloride is linked to all sorts of cancers,
Yes.
including liver, breast,
Sure.
leukemia.
Yes.
So you were triple, and then through 18 weeks after this happened, you have double breast cancer.
Yes.
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 I know doctors, I've experienced it in other places, are very, let's say, duct tape over their mouth to
Yeah.
connect dots. But did your doctor say that this could be related?
So, my cancer doctor, who I won't name her name or his name, I asked that question, and I was told that it couldn't be ruled out.
Right.
Right.
Now, a doctor who does cancer has studied a lot of things. Very, very knowledgeable doctor. Very knowledgeable.
Yes.
But I don't know if I could get her to come forward and say anything.
But also, you're not just dealing with one chemical exposure, you're
Right.
dealing
No.
with multiple, many.
So you don't know.
There were lithium batteries. There were 4 trucks on that train. Everybody seems to forget that.
Yeah.
And what?
There were electric cars with lithium batteries. that-
Exactly. What happens when you blow up
Firefighting foam.
Yes, when that blows up and it mixed together, what do those ingredients create?
Right. Well, when you burn vinyl chloride, once it goes into the air, you got formaldehyde, hydraulic acid, carbon dioxide, then you're talking dioxins, which there have been communities in America that have been evacuated permanently, Times Beach, Missouri,
Yes.
because of a dioxin disaster.
Yes.
So you had the chemo, and where are we at now with your health?
Well, I've been having other issues as far as dry mouth is dry as a bone right now. Eyes burning, almost the same symptoms I had when it first started, back February 2023, after the explosion.
And this is 18 months later, you're still having these.
Oh yeah, my mouth is dry as a bone all the time.
Shortness of breath.
Shortness of breath,
Chest pain.
chest pains.
So our next stop is, of course, cardiology.
Yeah.
You know, because that's where.
And
he's
you weren't
going
like
next.
smoking 2 packs of cigarettes in your life?
Oh
or-
no.
Well, he quit smoking, what,
15 years ago.
15
or
years
more.
ago.
Yeah.
And, you know, so now.
I'm saying you weren't an unhealthy
No.
person, yeah.
Yeah, and
No.
like they used to say, I didn't, pumping gas, or I ate too many
Onions.
onions,
Yeah.
or,
Took B12.
I mean, they think we're all stupid.
Yeah.
Yeah, they've been telling people who test for vinyl chloride you might have taken too much B12, which
Mm-hmm.
is.
Guess what? He wasn't taking no B12.
No, it wasn't.
I was. And I tested lower than he did.
Yeah.
Kind of blows their theory out of the
Yeah.
water.
Well, the bottom line is you tested 3 times the level of
Yeah.
acceptable level of vinyl chloride, and then you get double breast cancer, which is extremely rare in men, and you're having all these other symptoms. Let's talk about resources, because we know about Ohio, Pennsylvania. I mean, it was just rumored that your governor was going to be vice president. That didn't happen. You got senators, Congress folks. What have been the resources? Because you weren't evacuated right away.
We weren't evacuated at all.
Right. Has the local environmental, local health department, federal EPA contacted you, done any testing in your home?
Nope.
Not without calling and raising hell. Raising hell about it.
That's how we got the EPA to come out and do. They did test our water and our soil, which of course came back perfectly fine. So we opted for private testing, which found dioxins in our soil.
Isn't that interesting? Because it always seems to be the case from Flint, which I've covered, to East Chicago, Indiana, that the EPA's testing, whether it's the federal EPA, the
Yeah.
state, they don't find chemicals of concern, whether it's heavy metals or volatile organic compounds. But then you do independent testing, which, by the way, is a ton of money. Most people can't afford independent testing, and they're finding elevated levels.
Yes.
So they found dioxins.
Oh yeah, and we know that there's VOCs because we have an air tester that we got from, I forget where it came from, and it shows particulate matter in VOCs, 24-hour period, it's on all the time.
Yes.
The VOCs that are in, and I believe that they're in our house. My belief, okay, there are VOCs in your house, cleaning products, etc., so on. Okay, this air monitor is in a room upstairs that is not occupied by anyone, okay?
I'm in the next room over.
Right.
Yeah.
And it is registering during the night high VOCs in our house. So if it's from cleaning and everything else, wouldn't that occur during the day?
Right.
Not when we're all sleeping?
And cleaning doesn't
They say
produce-
cleaning products,
Yeah.
okay?
It can elevate it, but there's
Right.
a difference between elevated and very high.
Exactly.
Right.
So we're talking like, I mean, I've sent the, screenshots to the man who tested our house. He wants to come back and test our insulation because we believe that it is in the insulation of our house. We live in an old farmhouse. It's plaster walls. We have blown-in insulation, which was done before we bought the house, which is newspaper basically.
Yeah.
What do you put in shoes to absorb water? What do you put in things to absorb newspaper?
Right.
So it stands to reason that that's in our house.
And let me ask you, not to get the waterworks going, but you got the man you love going through this. You don't know what's going to happen. You got the federal government, the state government saying nothing to see here. You must be in emotional hell the last 18 months.
I hide it well. I can assure you.
You're like my mother, she hides.
That there were many times that we sat and had those hard conversations.
Oh God, yes.
And we both cried.
Yes.
And then to tell your children and your grandchildren, that was hard. It's been terrible. And then to wonder if your grandchildren coming to visit you, what are you doing to them?
Are we
hurting them?
Yeah.
You know, I mean, there's a gauntlet of so many emotions, and I don't show my emotions often because I try hard to keep a stoic face for my kids, my grandkids, for him.
She gets upset, I get mad.
Yeah.
Don't blame me.
Because I'm so
When
frustrated.
you're wearing a hat, I miss the America I grew up
You
in.
daggone right.
I mean, I've been to the meetings, I've been to our township meetings. I can remember I went to the CDC meeting they had in East Palestine because they certainly didn't have any of those meetings here. So I went to all the meetings they had in East Palestine. And the day that the CDC said, well, yeah, we know that you've been exposed to vinyl chloride. We can't do anything about it, but we could treat your cancer you might get from it.
Do I get a lollipop with that statement?
I'm going to tell you
Well,
something.
first of all, they can do something about it. Number one, they could give you all free health care.
Right.
And they could get us the hell out of here.
Right.
You took the words out of my mouth.
And the bad part is now that day, I lost it. I totally lost it because I knew. And for us, we're on our way out of this world. We've lived our lives. We've had a good life.
Well, first of all, I appreciate the sentiment, but 66 is not 96.
I know that.
And you're not an old lady either, so
No.
you still should have some time left.
In comparison to our grandchildren,
Right.
who are all young,
I get it.
that's the hard pill to swallow.
Yeah.
I don't fight. I fight for us, but I also fight for other people because the number of people who have contacted me and still continue to contact me, who have been struggling through this, who have had issues and had problems. You know, I speak for everyone. I'm not speaking for me. Oh, well, I've been accused of it. I've been accused of my husband being a prop.
Yeah.
I
That was
put
on
him out
Facebook.
there as a
Yeah.
prop on
I'm
the
a prop.
news. That's okay. I can take that. Okay.
Did he choose to get sick and get cancer as
Exactly.
a prop? That's absurd. That's absurd.
Yeah.
Well-
I mean, the attacks that you get for speaking out make you want to They want to silence you.
That ain't gonna happen.
That's not going to happen with me because I'm not going to do it. My dad did not raise me that way.
Right.
He didn't raise a quitter.
And what I think is important, you know, the EPA and all them are everything's fine. But when you see the little media coverage that you get, it makes it seem like it was only East Palestine. Obviously, that's ground zero.
Absolutely.
But you're 3.2 miles away.
Right.
I just talked to somebody, a couple 7 miles away. The woman's 55 and she has dementia.
Yeah.
So does he.
I have so do I.
Now, there's a gentleman in...
Did that develop recently?
It's gotten worse.
Gotten worse after.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a gentleman in Darlington, and you know, a lot of people, he's online a lot talking about how Darlington, he filmed all of it. He was home. He is a veteran. And people are so mean to him. But I have talked to him. He suffers terribly from PTSD. Okay? He has seen a lot. He's been through a lot.
God bless him.
And that man knew exactly what was happening when they did it. But he is very quirky, and you have to approach him in a very specific way. And obviously, the way I approached him was okay because he spoke to me. Other people he won't talk to. He would not come and do an interview with anyone.
No.
It's too much for him.
Yeah.
We've tried.
Yeah.
We've tried. He won't do it.
Are there other people in your community, neighborhood, that you know that are having
yeah.
symptoms and problems?
Oh,
Sure.
yeah. Our neighbor who lives catty corner to us, he was eating blackberries this year from the blackberry bush. He called me. He said, "I think I better quit eating those." I said, "Why?" He said, "I started getting that taste in my mouth." He said, my lips went numb and my tongue started. He said, "Our blackberries are poisoned."
Mind
I'm
you,
like,
this
yeah,
was only 2 weeks ago.
yeah, yeah.
But the EPA says everything's fine.
Everything's fine.
When they tested our water,
Carbon disulfide.
carbon disulfide was found in the water. It wasn't there before. I sure as the world didn't put it in there.
And it wasn't on the list though for Norfolk Southern.
No, it wasn't on the. You can't find what you're not looking
Yeah,
for.
but he told us if I were you, I'd drink from an alternate source of water, which we haven't drank from our well since.
That's been over a year.
We've been buying bottled water.
And what are your thoughts on that the multi-billion-dollar company that unnecessarily nuked your area was put in charge of the response, that they were doing the testing originally, which is, it's been described to me as having your rapist conduct the rape kit, but then you have a settlement very quickly, by the way.
Yes.
And it seems that residents aren't going to get that much.
No.
And it seems that there's, from what I can tell, there's testing and data being hidden. What do you think about this settlement? And it all seems very suspect.
As far as
crock.
I think that what they're doing is they're fear mongering people. If you don't do this, you're gonna. I mean, I've had people tell me that too. Okay, officials, just sign up with them and take what you get. No, because they're gonna get away with like it never happened. Okay, they're absolved of every ounce of guilt.
What do you think $600 million means to a multi-billion-dollar company?
Doesn't mean
and
anything.
BlackRock owns them. It means nothing to them.
Yeah.
It's just an accounting error.
Yeah.
Right, exactly,
Whoops.
exactly.
Put the decimal in the wrong spot. Oh
Yeah.
well.
And also, I mean, knock on wood, you're cancer free.
So far.
But if it comes back or worse things, I mean, you're going to get a shit ton of medical bills,
Right.
Yeah.
even with insurance.
Yes.
His surgery last year and his chemotherapy were in excess of $500,000
With insurance?
with insurance. That was what the insurance paid. Yeah. When those bills started rolling in, I was just sitting there shaking my head thinking, oh my God, thank God, we had insurance, because had we not, I don't know what we would have done, and the bad part is that, they want to, again, it's fear mongering. We were just having a discussion about the statute of limitations. People are like, we don't have a lot of time, they're telling us. I'm like, do not panic. That's what they want. They want as many people to sign up for this settlement to absolve them, because they know what they did, and they know what's coming. They know what's coming.
Yep.
They know what's already here, I should say.
Wayne, let me ask you, because your hat says I miss the America I grew up in.
Yes, sir.
Right now you hear in the media and politicians and the election, democracy's on the line and democracy's at stake. And I just think, well, what kind of democracy do we have? $1 billion company chemically nuked the Rust Belt.
The better word's hypocrisy.
Tell
That's
me.
the better word.
Yeah.
Biden showed up. Up front and honest with you, I'm not a Biden fan.
Okay,
I'm not a Harris fan.
that's fine.
Okay.
I'm not a politician fan.
I'm not a politician's fan at all. When he showed up a year afterwards, only a few chosen people
Yeah.
got to speak to him. We have been so vocal since, and a lot of other people other than just us.
Yeah.
We have been on Como. We have been on Martha McCullen's show with RK Jr. We have been with you guys, ABC. They don't want to talk to us.
No.
And also, Biden spoke, I later learned, in a candle shop
Yes.
Yes, he did.
instead of.
1820 Candle Shop.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
With all of his little Democrat people around him.
So why are they putting him in a candle shop rather than, I don't know, City Hall?
Okay, so the rumor mill which, you know, I believe the rumor mill anymore before I believe anything else, okay? Mr. Shaw purchased many of those candles and took them to Georgia and was selling them for 1820 candle.
There's no bottom.
No,
There's no
there
bottom.
isn't.
But basically, you were saying that the federal government is doing nothing.
Biden had a golden opportunity
To declare.
to declare a disaster area.
Yeah.
So all I had to do was sign his name.
He wouldn't do it.
He still hasn't done it. He still hasn't done it.
And they claim, President Obama claimed the same thing. He didn't declare a disaster with Flint.
Yep.
They claim because it's not a natural disaster.
Yep.
And my response to that is, well, you seem to make loopholes for a lot of other things.
Exactly.
Why does it have to be a natural disaster? It's a disaster.
It's a natural for a train derailment to hold all those chemicals and contaminate everything and everybody around it.
But that it's he said, she said, they said, this said, you know, well, he couldn't do it because the governor didn't check these boxes. And the president can't do that. And, you know, this is a state issue. And then, you know, the governors both talked and everything's fine. And all the test results that are coming in, you know, they're showing that everything's fine. Well, I beg to differ with you.
I advise everybody to watch the NTSB report.
Yes.
I've watched it, yeah.
Yes.
Everybody who listens to you, everybody.
Yes.
You got to see the final one.
The NTSB chair told Senator Vance, who might be the next vice president, that Norfolk Southern was repeatedly warned, you don't need to blow up these cars.
Right.
They ignored that warning. You were mentioning there's been other derailments since.
Subsequently, of these exact same cars that they need to get off of the rail system, okay, first of all. But there was another one, I believe, just recently in Eastern PA, same thing. They offloaded the cars. They chose not to offload the cars here because that is the main thoroughfare for Norfolk Southern between Pennsylvania and the rest of the country. And they wanted that train to get back to Conway. So, and then when it derailed, oh my God, they had to clear the tracks because it couldn't move any freight.
Right.
None. And they no sooner had those cars blown up and the fire burned out, they cleaned them off and laid new track, put gravel down and cleaned. They had those trucks sitting out in Columbiana, Ohio, loaded with gravel and rail.
You think you were made a sacrifice zone?
Oh, there's no doubt in my mind. There's no doubt in my mind. Because we've heard testimony from people who we know that live close to there. Them tracks were in operation within how long?
It was happened right after they blew it up.
Yeah, right after they blew
that
up.
night they had the rails cleared
And trains
new train,
on it,
yeah, new trains running.
Profit
Over people.
Over people.
Truth.
You think it's a cover-up?
I know it is.
Yeah.
I mean, we know that, but you know, the problem is that, you know, there's a lot of theories out there of what could be going on. And, you know, some of them I can almost believe. I really can. You have to remember something too. We are in a town that is towns that are covered over mines, mine shafts that are full of water that haven't been touched in 100 years or more. And do you know what's in those mines down there? A whole lot of goodies.
Yeah.
And if you think that I'm stupid enough to believe that this wasn't planned, because underneath those railroad tracks, or right close to them, is one of the biggest mine shafts that was in this area. And if you think that those 2 Shamu tanks were put there to hold water from this derailment, I'm sorry.
We got to start the live stream, but I appreciate you guys taking the time.
Thank
I'm
you.
a conspiracy
Thank you so
theorist.
much.